Good morning and welcome to Weekends with Whitney. This morning, we're going on a road trip. We're taking you to the coastal waters of Vermilion Parish. Here, some of the most innovative and promising rebuilding efforts are taking root to restore our coast and halt coastal erosion. Will it be enough or fast enough? We take a closer look. Then, coastal conservation takes center stage in another way. New Orleans Fashion Week. We'll take you behind the scenes to see how Louisianians are putting their passions front and center. Everything from high couture made from dumpster diving to a new line of local designers named Ath Luxury. Plus, Dr. Nick lets us in on time perspective therapy, how we can all benefit without ever having to sit on the couch. But first, a new study out just this week reveals the harsh realities of coastal erosion north of our coast. It's as far as Baton Rouge and beyond. And it's not just that we're going to get hit with a bigger storm surge. It's that we're going to get hit economically. But I want to share with you a place that is reinventing how we can handle coastal erosion. These birds are a soaring sign of health, not just for the bird population. Their presence tells us our waters are healthy, plants are healthy, fish are healthy, and perhaps most importantly, that we're healthy. Audubon, Louisiana Executive Director, Doug Meffert.
Birds, just like humans, are top of the food chain. So when bird populations are healthy, chances are everything down that food chain, whether it's fish or insects in the habitat that we depend on, they're probably healthy too. So people need our birds and the birds need people.
Dedicated people like Doug, Karen Westfall, and Timmy Vincent are big reasons why birds still flock here, especially in these impressive numbers. In 2005, Hurricane Rita put this entire area of Vermilion Parish under 18 feet of water and carried much of it out to sea. Timmy saw it unfold. He manages and lives here at the 26,000-acre Paul J. Rainey Wildlife Sanctuary. He evacuated for Rita just in time.
You can see the watermarks on that picture. It blew every window, every door. We had 7 buildings here, and after Rita, we had 1 left.
They've spent the last decade rebuilding. This area is crucial to birds because 40% of migratory birds in North America spend part of their life cycle here in South Louisiana.
Places like this are one of the last places they can stop to forage and feed before they fly those hundreds of miles across the Gulf of Mexico and land in Central and South America.
To restore and preserve these wetlands, this is one way they're doing it. It's called terracing, but it's just the tip of the iceberg.
See these little checkers, and then you see these little squiggles, and then you see these little lines here and here. We're right here, by the way.
Okay.
This place, it's a living laboratory for all sorts of restoration projects, but for terracing in particular, we're using it to try these different terracing techniques and try different terracing shapes to see what might work best in different conditions.
It's been a huge success. When terraces are built, our wetlands start to thrive. Here's why. They're angled to keep out water from the Gulf. That salt water kills marsh grass. When we lose it, we lose a critical line of defense against hurricanes. Everything and everyone inland is at greater risk. Even water plants like these are important. Mallard ducks love to eat them. If ducks migrate to another place to find them, part of Louisiana flies away too.
Louisiana is a sportsman's paradise here, so bird populations, whether you look at them with a binocular or whether you hunt them, they're very critical for a natural habitat. So, one of our mottos is where birds thrive, people prosper.
Hundreds of square miles of our wetlands were lost after hurricanes Rita and Ike. Here's a map of this area before the storms. Now, after. Even more alarming is without rebuilding, these holes will swallow the land. Everything on this map could be underwater in just 30 years. Louisiana's shoreline would continue its march north. Saltwater is deadly. Their efforts to keep it out are promising.
None of these canals are directly connected to the Gulf at all.
Well, which is good,
So,
right? Because it won't get
you
us
don't
going
want
up.
that. You don't want that salt water coming. In fact, that's why we're trying to protect all of these places to keep it from breaking into canals that come close, because we don't want that connection to the Gulf. And so when they've got that one right there, every little break, as that widens into that soft stuff, and you get that flow coming into here, it sucks the sediment out.
Here's another success, dredging. Timmy and Karen started pumping sediment from the canal into this eroded area of the sanctuary in 2011. Look at the results just 3 years later. Here's another area of marsh, before and after. And look closely at this spot. The arrows point to trees in the back. Look at the growth now, 3 years later. It's also economical. It costs roughly $5,000 an acre to restore this marsh instead of hundreds of thousands. Karen says for private landowners, it's an affordable option to save their land.
Audubon uses their land a lot to explore ideas about what can be done to help the environment. We're not afraid to try things that sound like a good idea based on, I'm a coastal scientist, so based on your best guesstimate and your best ideas, we're willing to try things. And that way we can show other landowners of the state, other agencies, you know, look, it works here. It may not work somewhere else, but if it works here, our neighbor might be able to use it. So that's, you know, we're all about working in the region, helping our neighbors, and to help the health of the marsh and this ecosystem.
One such neighbor is famed family of Tabasco hot sauce, the McElhaney's. Now they work with, not against each other.
We're partnering with the McElhaney Enterprises, Sagrera Lands Vermilion Corporation to leverage our 26,000 acres into 180,000 contiguous acres of conservation. And by working together and not in competition, we've actually been able to raise $75 million in the past 4 years for coastal restorations.
Timmy says it's keeping everyone's dream alive, conservationists and hunters.
Mr. McElhaney's dream was to surround this area with refuges to have duck hunting in perpetuity.
Protect what we have, hold on to what we have, and rebuild what's been lost.
Work is underway now to get more money to implement more aspects of that program. And still to come, coastal erosion hits the stage in surprising ways. We're going to take you behind the scenes of New Orleans Fashion Week and show you the excitement and innovation there. Plus, Dr. Nick explores a topic many of us haven't heard of, time perspective therapy. He'll let us know why it's important after this.
See that angry soccer mom over there? Giving the referee 2 earfuls? Well, I'm the human dislike button, and I see it too.
Rule Section 2, Part 1B, if a team does not display quality sportsmanship during the regular season, they may be barred from future sports opportunities.
Gotta remember, even though they make convincing canaries, referees are people too. It's important to keep your cool and use sportsmanship in every situation. I'm the human dislike button, but one thing I do like is following the rules. To learn more about me, go to breck.org/HDB.
Welcome back to Weekends with Whitney. Well, New Orleans Fashion Week is taking the fashion industry by storm. It is in its 7th year, and it's bigger and better than ever. New Orleans Fashion Week has catapulted careers into the national spotlight, like Romy Rowe, Project Runway winner Anthony Ryan, and LSU grad Padron Tahiri, who debuted his fashion line here in 2014. Now he dresses Hollywood. Actress Shanna Forrestal's a huge fan.
I'm in awe that he's only been doing this for 4 years. But he designs couture gowns and custom wedding gowns. He's amazing. He's had his work done on Say Yes to the Dress. He's been dressing some celebrities, and he does beautiful work.
Designers debuting this week dream of that same success, like Jamie Rogers, who learned early you can't make clothes with a glue gun.
I've been sewing since I was about 5 after melting my Barbie's boobs off. My mom had to teach me how to sew.
This small-town Cajun designer doesn't follow trends, she makes them.
My line is recycled materials, so I'm really into the eco-friendly aspect. It's something that people have never seen before, and playing off of, the marsh conservation and eco-friendly materials, I really want to push that. I have a lot of French nods in my collection, Cajun French, of course, with my recycled materials, like that. So I really started to embrace my Cajun culture, and I just went with it.
What is your favorite piece that's going to be in this week's show?
So it's my first piece. It's very different. It's kind of my take on a dressy hoodie, because my collection is actually a play on athleisure. I don't know if you've ever heard of athleisure.
I've heard of athleisure.
Athleisure, so tights and stuff, but it's not realistic to wear tights during the day if you have a working job. So I played off on it and did athleisure. So these are clothes that women can wear to work. They're comfortable. They have a little sporty vibe to them, so you can literally leave work and go do anything you want after.
Designers like Jamie are why Tracy Dundas founded New Orleans Fashion Week in 2011.
A light bulb went off. We're in New Orleans, and amazing, creative. We love our food, our cuisine, the architecture, the music. All of that is just pure creativity, and fashion is too. And so I thought, you know what? We need a platform. We need a chance for us to shine a little bit.
21-year-old LSU student Sakina Ashuru is one of the youngest designers on the runway this year. She spent last year in China to inspire her collection.
And I stayed there and I was learning the fashion industry and just absorbing all the culture, because at a young age my family always traveled every year to different countries, so I have this perspective. I love cultures and all these different things, and that's what I bring into my design.
What makes your fashion different than something another designer may be doing there?
Because I take the traditional fabrics from that country and I use that traditional fabric and I infuse it with the modern Western culture.
Clinton Whitney Downing is another designer making his runway debut this week. It's been 40 years in the making.
Well, at 5, my sister got in trouble for all my dad's socks being missing for the Barbie dolls. Little did they know that under my bed was the little suitcase with all the dresses I'd made, using little pieces of yarn and even making the belt metallic out of Wrigley's gum wrappers and stuff. Guilty party.
So it was the fabric of who you were?
It was who I was from the beginning.
He's always had a knack for taking nothing and turning it into something.
I first got inspired when Katrina happened. I was supposed to move back to New Orleans. I came down, saw the wreckage, had been through this, and I started designing these art crosses. Picked up from pieces of wreckage, the slate, pieces of wood, the nuts, the bolts, the screws, and started doing that stuff, and someone says, those are too beautiful, I wish I could wear something like that. So I said, where? Let me see what I can do. What I have done is, back in the day, the socks, the rubber band, cinch waist, the Barbie dolls and stuff, it's a repurposed collection. And when I say it, it's a very art piece, very Basquiat, very Andy Warholish, very unconventional collection. I've used things from coffee filters to straws to rubber bands to trash bags to clothespins, balloons.
Just look. This skirt, it's made of coffee filters. This one, ribbon. And here, paper cups. Colored drinking straws create this skirt. Magazine pages and plastic cups here. This purple dress is made of balloons. And this one, bubble wrap. old VHS tape makes this skirt. And what's this? It's hard to tell at first, but those are metal window blinds and the fans, paper plates. But here's his favorite. This swing skirt made from 3,500 black drinking straws.
I want to call it trashing.
Trashing.
Well, but it sort of is, you know, if you were to take the things, not that you go dig through the dumpster, but it's things you would find from the restaurant, from the hardware store, and all these things, and turning them something from art.
Since most of these wouldn't be real comfortable to wear, Clinton has fabricated another idea too.
But I hope to, within this next year, actually start a true hands-on collection, replicating some of these things I've created out of these elements, but using fabrics.
He's also tailoring a plan to create a garment industry in Monroe, his hometown.
To where designers within Louisiana do not have to go to New York or LA to have their goods mass produced. They'll actually be able to drive a few hours north and have factories will help with the infrastructure to get some more jobs back in Louisiana also.
What inspires you?
Life. I went through some hard roads in my life, and higher powers got me back on track to where I needed to be. So here I am 40 years after I designed my first dress, showing on a major runway.
It's going to be fun to watch their progress because their possibilities are as endless as their talents. And still to come, Dr. Nick explores time perspective therapy. What is that? We'll let you know after this.
Maggio, the only way to go. Maggio Buick GMC, your satisfaction's our specialty. We really deliver on Falls River, here in New Roads. Small town atmosphere, legendary service for over 60 years. Maggio, the only way to go. The only way to go, that's Maggio.
9-time winner of the prestigious Buick GMC Mark of Excellence Award. Time management, of course, is something that many of us struggle with. But there is a new type of therapy, and it's not how you spend the hours in your day, but it is a time therapy component that really is about how you think of life and moments in your life. Dr. Nick joins us with more. I don't think I got the name right.
Perspective.
Time perspective
therapy. Yeah, okay. but it's okay. It's just another word. But I do think it's an interesting way of looking at time. It's one's perspective. How do we see our past? How do we see our present? And how do we see and look at our future? What's the perspective with which we approach it? For instance, the past perspective could be loaded with pain, abuse, trauma, victimization, or it could be loaded with, I had a great life.
Right.
Fun. Childhood was wonderful. No big problems. Picked on a little bit, but no big deal. You know, and so it comes to the fact that it could kind of be one or the other. And we're just, in that kind of form of therapy, we're simply helping people look at it.
Right. You had a patient who had a very difficult childhood. And
yes, I did. And I want to be careful again with confidentiality. But yes, it was. It was a lot of abuse, continual abuse. But at school, this person excelled in English and in history and was given tons and tons of praise. Dreaded getting on the bus. Yes. But what about the 7 hours in school? Shall we just literally throw that under the rug and say that didn't matter? Or shall we shift our perspective to, I'm grateful for that.
Well, because
and also loved music.
And also loved music. And you said when you were talking about childhood, his face was forlorn and his heart was heavy.
Body was just sinking.
And you said, how about school, not knowing, and he lit up like a Christmas tree.
Whitney, I promise, if it had been a camera, it would have been just the most astronomical change. He did. He lit up. And then when he started talking about music, he lit up. But again, the perspective with which he looked at these were that they were kind of survival And music was really a waste of time. And I'm like, how can music be a waste of time? How can praise from history and English? You're smart. How can that be just survival?
So you would say, you said as a counselor, how does he spend more time thinking of the joyful part instead of the hurtful part? Like, how do you do that?
Well, first of all, we go ahead and we get the painful memories out, because what we want to do, and this is another problem I think we have in our humanity. Okay. We love to say, that's behind me. That's done. I'm not there anymore. Oh, I'm past that. Are you kidding me? We all carry scars. We all have our past. Our past is important to our future. Our past tells our story. Right. And for somebody to say to me, oh, I don't have that past, or I don't have that, we've got to face it. So once we face it and own it and claim it, we might need some more work to get through it, but we're shifting that perspective to, let's think of the great things that happened and the wonderful formative opportunities that you had, and the real medication that you got from school and from teachers who loved you and from friends. It never was picked on.
Oh, great.
Never was picked on.
Yeah.
So yeah, we start focusing that, we shift that.
The present, right?
And then again, the perspective of the moment, the moment, because the moment's going to also be important to help the past. What I'm doing today is going to help me realize, you know, I'm 35 years old. I can start making choices today that I couldn't make when I was 10.
Yes, yes. Now there's something in this whole therapy too, also called time hedonism. And Nikki said, Whitney, I think this is you. And I think he's right.
It's time hedonistic. But Whitney, it's not fair. And I've stated it's not fair any more than to say, you know, our pain is bad. Pleasure is not bad. Pleasure is not bad. But I thought it was an interesting insight by this theory that hedonistic people can get caught in the pleasure of the moment, always new and unique experiences, being lost in time, in the moment,
right?
And
wrapped and enveloped, right?
But this theory says that a lot of it is avoiding pain. I don't know that I would say for you or for people who like pleasure and to live in the moment, it's necessarily avoiding pain. But there could be some of it. I think my father would be that way. He loved pleasure. He loved the moment. He loved you. And you know that's who you are.
Oh,
in terms of unique, you know, you can't wait to go find a new story, wow, I didn't know that was here. New adventure.
Yeah.
I mean, during the flood, I saw you in boots and never mind. Snakes everywhere. And I'm like, and she's enjoying it.
I know, right?
You take pleasure in cleaning garages. But that's one. But then we also think
But you can't always do that. Like
no.
I also remember the fable, the ant and the grasshopper, and sometimes I am very much the grasshopper, but I can't be the grasshopper all the time.
That's right.
And so that's where that time hedonism can really be disabling.
Yes. And it also helps to understand that in that moment, that too is a limited moment. When you're going after one pleasure, you'll miss the pleasure of another. So there has to be a balance of pleasures. I saw what your mother sent you for your birthday. Unbelievable.
They're kind of
I don't know if they can see it.
We'll make sure they do.
She sent it because you were so busy that she wasn't able to spend time with you, and she wanted to let you know. That's tough. Because I know how much you love your mother.
Of course.
And how much you would wanted to be with her. Don't you think that
that's
part of the pleasure?
My birthday was also on Spanish Town Mardi Gras Day, and I was
and
a
you're
judge,
busy judging. And so I think that's part of the struggle with pleasure-oriented, too. We have to figure out which one am I going to take and then let go of the others.
Yeah, but it was a big birthday, so I really didn't want to dwell on it.
I know.
We all have crazy reasons why we do
but let's
certain
just take a quick moment before we go to talk about the future, because the future is part of how we can also handle the past and the present by having plans, by anticipating, by putting things beyond us that we're looking forward to or that we're kind of aiming for in terms of goals. You know, maybe in the future you'd like to not be working Friday morning at 3 a.m.
Sure.
That might be future. And then there's also that kind of future component of the afterlife, where we're into a transcendental mode, where we do everything because we're trying to get somewhere afterwards.
I know people like that.
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying that that's a time motivator too. Is that there can be a transcendental.
And it can be exhausting if you're always trying to get to heaven.
Yes, it can. it can be. But Whitney, it can also be exhausting when you're trying to change the world overnight, or be a savior, or if I just do this, or if we just gather around, we can make this world perfect. That's the danger also of transcendental, because there'll always be suffering. You know, but the last one was the future fatalistic, that I cannot change. I'll never get out of poverty. I'll never be able to quit this habit.
I'll never get out of this dead-end job.
I'll never get out of this dead-end job. I'm stuck because of benefits when we don't see what might be on the other side of taking the risk. That's fatalism.
A bad time perspective.
Well, fatalism, again, I don't know that I would say that it's completely negative, because I think there is a certain acceptance that goes, I'm accepting, you know, I'll never be a great basketball player. Right. Okay, I just don't think I will, especially if I want to be a center. But the kind of fatalism we're talking about is that there's just no hope for me. I'm just stuck in this situation, and I won't buy that. I won't buy that. I think there's hope for everybody. And I think that we've got to have that more and more in our nation.
I do too.
We really need, we're kind of we get fatalistic in the poverty and the generational poverty.
Absolutely, and the shrinking of the middle class.
And the shrinking of the middle class.
You know, the CEOs who make, you know, $40 million a year, but, you know, their workers make $8 an hour.
And they feel stuck,
Yeah.
But time perspective therapy. So suffer a little bit more. You don't need to be pleasurable all the time.
I know. Thanks for calling that to my attention. Not
that although we have so much fun together, it's...
I know. I won't do it when I'm with you. How's that? More Weekends with Whitney after this. Atlas Foundation Repair, fixing your foundation problems for more than 30 years while preserving and protecting your trees. Thanks for joining us this week for Weekend with Whitney. Hope to see you back here again next week. But this week, we leave you with a great adventure. I don't know if you've been on an airboat ride. If you have, you know the thrill. If you haven't, come, let's go.